Tonight, Hunter Biden in the hot seat. The jury now seated in the trial of the president's son. Hunter Biden back in court as he faces 3 felony gun charges. The first lady in the front row watching it all and what it could mean for President Biden. We have the latest outside the courtroom. Plus,
every post that was on fire at that time, I was running and just throwing it on there.
Massive wildfire burning in California, just 50 miles from the San Francisco area. The latest on the efforts to contain the blaze. And Mexico makes history, a new beginning for the country as it's now elected its first female president, but she'll take over a government battling widespread issues of poverty and violence. And we're on the ground for this monumental moment for one of the United States' closest allies. Good evening, everyone. I'm Trevor Alt in for Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We're following all those stories and much more, including the latest stories as they begin to come in tonight. The trial of Hunter Biden on felony gun charges, as well as Israeli forces confirming the deaths of 4 more hostages, while the IDF says that they were killed together and where they believe they were killed. Plus, former NIH Director Dr. Anthony Fauci testifying before Congress for the first time since he left his position, the emotional testimony and the questions about the origins of the COVID-19 virus. And President Biden preparing to sign an executive order limiting entry to the U.S. by migrants. That executive order in its current state, plus the state of ICE detainees, when we take a look by the numbers. But we begin, of course, with that trial of Hunter Biden on felony gun charges, the first child of a sitting president to ever go on trial. 12 jurors and 4 alternates were seated today, opening arguments set to begin tomorrow. Hunter Biden arriving today at the federal court in Wilmington, Delaware. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden there to support Hunter on her 73rd birthday. President Biden saying he sent his boundless love. Hunter Biden is accused of lying about his drug abuse on a federal form when he bought a handgun back in 2018. For years, he's been open about his drug addiction and his fight to beat it. Prosecutors now plan to use his own words against him in what they say is a simple case. Our Terry Moran leads us off from the courthouse.
Hunter Biden walked hand in hand with his wife, Melissa, into the federal courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware this morning to stand trial on charges of violating federal gun laws. Minutes later, First Lady Jill Biden made her way into court on her 73rd birthday. This case marks the first time in American history that the child of a sitting president has gone on trial. Hunter Biden faces 3 felony gun charges in what prosecutors are calling a simple case. They allege that he lied about his drug abuse on this federal form back in October 2018 when he bought a Colt Cobra .38 special handgun. For years, the president's son has been open about his fight with drug addiction.
That I've made mistakes in my life and wasted opportunities and privileges I was afforded. For that, I'm responsible.
Now prosecutors plan to use his words against him in court, including excerpts from his 2021 memoir, Beautiful Things, where he came clean about his addiction and his text messages. This one allegedly sent just 2 days after buying that firearm. I was sleeping on a car, smoking crack on 4th Street and Rodney. Hunter Biden's lawyers have argued in court documents that that form is confusing, and so their client did not knowingly lie. Last year, a plea deal in this case fell apart under tough questioning by the same judge who will now preside at trial. The jury selected today 6 men, 6 women, including a man whose father died by gun violence and whose brother was sentenced to prison for drug crimes. A woman who grew up in a hunting family with guns and whose best friend died from a drug overdose. And a man who has owned 6 guns in his life and told the judge, I believe the Second Amendment is very important. Earlier today, President Biden released a statement standing by his only surviving son, saying in part, I have boundless love for my son.
And Terry Moran joins us now from outside the courthouse. So, Terry, as the first child of a sitting president to face trial with the First Lady there in court, how did Hunter Biden behave today?
Well, Trevor, it was intense in that courtroom because Hunter Biden is facing very serious criminal charges that could carry a prison sentence if he is convicted, although that's unlikely with the first offender. And he has been in that courtroom an active participant. He's conferring frequently with his lawyers during the jury selection. He's also been a very attentive son. He's been checking in on the First Lady, and at one point during a break, he embraced her with visible emotion crossing his face. Opening statements tomorrow in this case. Trevor?
All right, Terry Moran, thank you. And for more on this, now joining me is ABC News contributor Asha Rangappa. Asha, thank you so much for being here. So big picture here, the charges against Hunter Biden, are they unusual?
They are unusual in the sense that he is being prosecuted for lying on a firearm for merely being a drug addict. Typically, when these kinds of gun charges are brought, they're usually for a felon in possession of a firearm, or to the extent that it is possession by people involved in drugs, it's really targeted towards traffickers. So this is sort of a very narrow class where he's being charged with this, but nevertheless, the prosecution does have a form on which he lied, and that is a violation of the law.
And based on that, the prosecution says this is a simple case. Do you agree with them on that?
So on its face, it does seem pretty straightforward. He marked an answer to a question of whether he was a drug user or drug addict when he purchased this firearm, and he was, in fact, a drug user and drug addict. I think the question is going to be, can the defense bring in reasonable doubt? And they can do this in two ways. One is to undermine the credibility of the prosecution witnesses, and primarily the firearms dealers and law enforcement who handled this form, because it appears that they added information to this form after he filled it out. The other is to cast doubt over his intent and to say he really misunderstood this question. He believed he had just come out of rehab. He thought he was okay. And so there's not that willful requirement, which is required when you convict someone of a crime. There's a heightened mental state that the government has to prove. And remember, the defense only needs to convince one juror of reasonable doubt to get a hung jury, where the prosecution has to get all 12 to convict.
And you think that the defense is going to keep it relatively straightforward in in the way they defend Hunter Biden that way?
I think so. I mean, they have the documentation. They can bring the witnesses of the federal officials and firearms dealers who handled these forms. And, you know, the prosecution typically has a little bit of an advantage because juries, you know, are inclined to believe law enforcement and prosecutors. But that's where some of these credibility issues can come into play. And also, you know, whether there might be a reasonable basis that Hunter Biden really didn't intend to lie directly to purchase this firearm.
When the very nature of the crime, Asha, is lying on a form, and we have the form, it doesn't seem like there's going to be all that much to go over in this trial here. Do we think this is going to be a relatively speedy trial?
Yes, I would think so. I think that they're going to have to focus on the mental state, proving that he was in fact a drug user. Of course, they're going to have to show that the lie was that he was continuing to use drugs at the time, and that might be the trickiest part for the prosecutors to prove, because they're going to have to really rely on sort of circumstantial evidence. You know, what he was writing about in his book around the time that he purchased the firearm, what other people in his life have to say. That might be the trickiest part from their perspective, because otherwise, yes, they do have this documentation that really supports their narrative in this case.
There, of course, used to be a plea deal in place on this case a year ago, and then that fell apart under questioning from the judge that's now overseeing this trial. Does that tell you anything as to how this might go?
I don't think so. The plea deal fell apart really on sort of, I won't call them technicalities, but because I would argue that it was sort of sloppily drafted by the prosecutors, and there was not a clear meeting of the minds between what the defendant was agreeing to. You know, I think it might send a signal if they're not as, you know, dotting their I's and crossing their T's with the actual case itself. Hopefully they have it more tightened up than that. But I'm not sure that the plea deal falling through really is any indication of the merits of this case and, you know, how the jury might go. And I think it's really up in the air because this particular issue doesn't neatly align with other political views. So it becomes a tricky case to predict how jurors might go based on, for example, their political leanings. findings.
All right, Asha Rangappa, thank you very much for your time. And next tonight, sources say President Biden is preparing to take tough executive action on immigration, and that includes shutting down the border when the number of daily asylum seekers reaches 2,500. Now, this news comes tonight as the new president of Mexico, their first female president, a physicist and an engineer, has already signaled that she will work with the U.S. on immigration. And our Rachel Scott has the story from the White House.
Tonight, President Biden preparing to take his most aggressive action on immigration yet, who plans to issue an executive order to effectively shut down the border to asylum seekers when migrant crossings surge. Sources tell ABC News when daily encounters reach 2,500 between ports of entry, asylum seekers would be turned away. The move could have an immediate impact. Migrant crossings have averaged 3,500 a day in recent weeks. The president, keenly aware that immigration is a top issue for voters, has been weighing on how he can act alone after Donald Trump urged Republicans to block a bipartisan deal their own party negotiated.
There's no guarantee that I have that power all by myself without legislation. And someone suggested I should just go ahead and try it.
The U.S. has seen a record 6.4 million illegal border crossings during the Biden administration. Officials say the numbers have dipped in recent months because Mexico is cracking down on their side of the border. And the U.S. will soon have a new partner. Mexico tonight electing its first woman and first Jewish president, Claudia Sheinbaum, the former mayor of Mexico City, a physicist with a doctorate in energy engineering, won the Nobel Peace Prize. Sheinbaum is vowing to continue the policies of outgoing President López Obrador, working to control the flow of migrants.
And Rachel Scott joins us now from the White House. So, Rachel, let's get to the bottom line here with this executive order. So if this went into effect today, this would shut down the border to asylum seekers. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly, Trevor. This would have an immediate effect for those who are seeking asylum and looking for entry into the United States because the daily number of migrant encounters at the border already far exceed the numbers of that threshold that would be outlined in this executive order. The bottom line, though, Trevor, the White House, the Biden administration, they are fully aware this will likely be challenged in court. Trevor?
Could be a major development, though. Rachel Scott for us. Thank you. And now to the major wildfire burning in California as 25 million Americans are put on alert for dangerous heat. Flames from the Corral Fire east of San Francisco raced across more than 20 square miles in just 48 hours. It temporarily shut down 2 major freeways. It forced evacuations, and at least 2 firefighters were injured. And now crews will be battling the flames and triple-digit temperatures. ABC's Mola Lenghi is on the fire lines tonight in Tracy, California.
Tonight, a new threat for the West, scorching heat. 475 firefighters already battling California's first major wildfire of the year. The dry grass quickly going up near the town of Tracy. The Corral Fire incinerating more than 20 square miles east of San Francisco in the last 48 hours.
The winds were fierce, 30 to 40 mile an hour sustained winds and 60 mile an hour gusts. People were saying they couldn't even stand up in those high winds. 2
firefighters sustaining burns when the erratic winds changed direction, expected to be okay.
First time I walked over here, it was very hard to look at. It still is.
Travis Curtis's parents evacuating as flames closed in on his childhood home, now destroyed by the fire.
They left with the clothes on their back. And so...
and came home to nothing.
Came home to nothing.
The start of the fire not far from the explosives testing facility belonging to the famed Lawrence Livermore National Lab. Authorities warning that fire season is now a year-round event.
Usually we see the more intense fire activity in July, August, September. So we just want everybody to be prepared.
That's Mola Lenghi reporting. Mola, thank you. And next to the Israel-Hamas war, tonight the Israeli military has confirmed that 4 more hostages have died while being held by Hamas. 3 of them had been seen pleading for their lives in a video that Hamas released in December. And ABC's Marcus Moore reports from Tel Aviv tonight.
Tonight, the Israeli military acknowledging, quote, difficult questions will be asked after the deaths of 4 more hostages being held by Hamas in Gaza. According to the IDF, new intelligence confirms Chaim Perry, Yoram Metzger, Imran Cooper, and Nadav Popplewell were killed several months ago.
We assessed that the 4 of them were killed while together in the area of Khan Yunis during our operation there against Hamas.
The IDF has not said how they died. Back in December, Perry appeared in this Hamas video, pleading, don't abandon us. A lifelong peace activist, Perry surrendered to Hamas militants to save his wife, who was hiding in their safe room. We spoke with their son, Lior, shortly after Perry's abduction.
Ever since he finished being a soldier, he became a strong peace activist, because he said, it's very clear for me, very, very clear, that peace is the only way.
Perry's family tonight blasting the Israeli government for not doing more to free the hostages, saying in a statement he could have been saved, he should have been saved, adding there will be no forgiveness for any further abandonment. This comes just days after President Biden's announcement of a new ceasefire proposal. But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today insisting there will be no permanent truce until Hamas is destroyed.
So with Prime Minister Netanyahu holding firm, let's bring in Marcus Moore from Tel Aviv. So Marcus, where do we stand on any potential ceasefire?
Well, Trevor, it doesn't seem like a deal is imminent, but pressure is mounting on both sides to agree to some type of immediate ceasefire. And Trevor, a State Department spokesperson said the only thing standing in the way is Hamas. Trevor.
Marcus Moore tonight. Thank you, Marcus. Next tonight, some news here in New York. 2 police officers were shot and wounded chasing a robbery suspect on a moped in Queens. One officer was shot in the leg, the other shot in the chest. And ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has more.
Tonight, these 2 young New York City police officers are out of the hospital and lucky to be alive after they were shot by a migrant wanted for robbery in Queens.
This is a bullet hole. Because of this vest, a young police officer is going home.
Officers Richard Yaruso and Christopher Abreu, both 26, were shot just before 2 a.m. while searching for suspects in a string of robberies by thieves on scooters.
They observed a male suspect drive a moped the wrong way and attempted to pull him over. The suspect then fled on foot.
Police sources told ABC News the officers wrestled the suspect to the ground. They were all within inches of one another when the suspect pulled a gun out of a fanny pack and fired.
One is confirmed shot in the leg and one in the vest. We have one perp that's shot.
Officer Yaruso trying to stop his partner from bleeding.
The one police officer shot in the vest was more concerned about his partner, saving his life, getting a tourniquet.
Detectives recovered this illegal handgun at the scene and arrested Bernardo Mata, a 19-year-old from Venezuela who entered the U.S. illegally a year ago and had been living in a migrant shelter.
And Aaron Katursky joins us now. Aaron, okay, so we have this suspect in custody. What do we know about him?
We know he's wanted in connection with multiple robberies in Queens. Trevor, there's been a surge in crime by thieves on motorbikes, and police believe they can tie this suspect, Mata, the 19-year-old, to a number of those robberies. He was shot in the leg in the altercation with the officers, so tonight he's in the hospital and awaiting charges. Trevor?
All right, Aaron Katursky, thank you. Next tonight, former NIH Director Dr. Anthony Fauci was on Capitol Hill facing some hostile questioning about the pandemic. He rejected a long list of accusations, including that he helped fund the Chinese lab, which Republicans allege created COVID-19. And Fauci grew emotional when asked about the death threats that he and his family continue to receive. Our Elizabeth Schulze reports.
Tonight, in a contentious hearing on Capitol Hill, Dr. Anthony Fauci choking up as he described death threats against his family.
It is much more troublesome because they've involved my wife and my 3 daughters.
At these moments, how do you feel?
Terrible.
During the nearly 4-hour hearing, Fauci defending his record as the face of the nation's pandemic response, facing hostile questions over policies like social distancing and masks.
When you and your agency made mistakes, Dr. Fauci, what happened? We all need to be held accountable. Sometimes it's as simple as saying, we were wrong.
But Fauci defiant, rejecting unfounded GOP accusations he helped fund research that caused the COVID pandemic and covered up a theory the virus may have originated in a lab in China.
None of us can know everything that's going on in China or in Wuhan or what have you. And that's the reason why I say today, and I've said at the TI, I keep an open mind as to what the origin is.
And Elizabeth Schulze joins us now outside the Capitol. So, Elizabeth, obviously, Dr. Fauci has become a bit of a pariah. That might be understating it with the right. But, of course, Democrats are still backing him. What are they saying as this is all panning out?
That's exactly right, Trevor. And House Democrats say that as part of this investigation from the House Select Subcommittee, they've gone through hundreds of thousands of documents over the past 15 months. None of the evidence that they found shows that Fauci covered up the so-called lab leak theory. Trevor.
All right, Elizabeth Schulze. Thank you, Elizabeth. Meantime, the third human case associated with the outbreak of bird flu has been reported from a farm worker in Michigan. This worker reported experiencing respiratory symptoms before testing positive last Thursday. Experts say this is tied to a dairy outbreak. The two previous cases of bird flu, one was in Texas, the other was in Michigan, but none of these cases are associated with the others. The CDC has reported that the general risk to the public does remain low. And for more on this now, joining me is Dr. Rick Bright. He's a virologist and the former head of the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. Dr. Bright, thank you so much for being here. You were just out with an op-ed on Sunday that got our attention. The title of it is Why the New Human Case of Bird Flu is So Alarming. So why do we all need to be paying attention to the bird flu?
Yeah, this bird flu virus has really taken hold and spreading across our country, and it's been in poultry for a couple of years. The last few months, we've seen it infect a wide variety of dairy cattle across our country. And the more dairy cattle that we have infected with this, we have more people exposed to the cows and the milk that's infected with this virus. And we're starting to see more cases now of people who work with these dairy cows get infected with this virus. The first two infections over the last couple of months have been mild with a bit of an eye infection. The last case we saw last week reported from Michigan, however, changed to a respiratory infection. So we believe the virus is adapting to people and is eventually going to take hold and potentially spread person to person.
Does the fact that it is those respiratory symptoms mean that it could spread more easily among humans as well?
Absolutely. I mean, if you imagine there's an eye infection or a cough or a sneeze, and more people can transmit a virus through a cough or a sneeze than they can through eye secretions. And so the more we can expel and expectorate this virus into the air through droplets, of course, the more chance it has to spread to other people.
The CDC still says the threat to the public remains low. Do you agree with that?
I think to the general public, as long as you're not drinking raw milk or coming in contact with these infected cattle, you're probably pretty safe still. But if you're working on one of these dairy farms or you're in that process chain where you're either working in the pasteurization facility or you're working in a slaughterhouse that is happening to process these infected cows, your risk is actually pretty high. And the CDC's put out guidelines on how to protect yourself. But the general public, stay away from sick and dead animals and don't drink raw milk, and you're pretty good for now.
If you were head of the CDC, would you be doing anything differently?
Absolutely. I would be doing a lot more testing. We are flying blindly right now.
We don't want to be alarmist here, but just if you could give us what you think would be both the best case scenario and the worst case scenario with the spread of bird flu.
Well, the best case scenario is, we've been tracking this for 27 years now, as it's jumped in a few people here and there. We've never seen it in this many mammals, domestic mammals before, where there's a chance we can manage it and control it. It will burn out and go away in the next few months. Best case. Worst case scenario, it will continue to evolve and infect more cows. Matter of fact, the USDA just reported 13 more herds across the U.S. over the weekend, and more cows infected or more people infected. Once this virus begins to infect more people, it will adapt. It can spread widely person to person. It can cause a lot of severe illness. Right now, over the last 27 years, about 52% of the people known to be infected with this virus have died. And so it can be really lethal. We don't really have vaccines ready for it yet, and the antiviral drug arsenal we have is very limited. Worst case scenario, it can flash like wildfire. We're not ready for it. It can cause a lot of devastation, much worse than what we saw with the SARS-CoV-2 virus.
And just to get some clarity for our viewers, Doctor, I think some people might hear of animals that are getting sick and start to have some concerns about whether the food they're eating is safe. Is there any reason to be concerned with that?
We haven't really been able to confirm that. So we're trying to track to see how these cows initially got infected with this virus. Was it a wild bird that landed in the food supply or in the water supply? Was it something mixed in the food supply that was used to feed animals on a particular farm? We don't have those answers right now. Right now, we do know that it is spreading really well among the dairy cattle, and it's jumping from dairy cattle to other mammals, cats, and alpacas and others in the area. So we just need to make sure that if you see a sick animal now, it's really important to keep your distance, call for help, don't expose yourself.
Dr. Rick Bright, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And next tonight, we do have an announcement from X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. It says that they're going to officially allow consensual adult content and graphic media on the platform if it's properly labeled. In a statement today, the updated policy reads, "We believe that users should be able to create, distribute, and consume materials to sexual themes as long as it is consensually produced and distributed." The platform says they are balancing its X-rated content by restricting exposure to adult content by those who choose not to see it. Well, we still have much more to get to here on Prime. Why a dog breeding facility will now have to pay a historic $35 million in fines. But next, Mexico will have its first woman president, and its millions of residents are looking to her to fix a list of difficult issues. In tonight's Prime Focus, we look at what's on Claudia Sheinbaum's agenda as she steps into history.
No llegó sola. Llegamos todas. Con nuestras heroínas que nos dieron patria, con nuestras ancestras, nuestras madres, nuestras hijas y nuestras nietas.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. On June 10, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack. I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. From then on, my career and the career of everyone who was involved was branded to the Brat Pack.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I've never talked to anybody about what that was like. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who was in the Brat Pack. Hey, Emilio Estevez. This is Andrew McCarthy calling you. Hey, Allie. Hey, Demi. Hey, Molly. Let's call Rob. Hello? Judd? Me? You around? You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack for years.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because you called me. It was time that we clear the air on a couple of things.
I love your stuff, Bob. Hey, thank you. I hated the Brat Pack for decades. What a disaster. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you?
It really irritated me. They said, what's more important to you, the movie or your life? And I said,
the movie!
Andrew.
Have you talked to the others? The others, like, again, it feels like a cult or something.
Yeah. Why did we take it as an offense?
Well,
As opposed to like
a brat.
Because we were young.
We were afraid we were brats, you know? Are you in the Brat Pack?
I'm Brat Pack adjacent.
That's what I was saying.
I am not in the Brat Pack.
Don't you crush on you back in the day?
You did not, Andrew. No, you did not.
Being in the Brat Pack not only changed all of our lives, it changed what entertainment is. I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985, I think we could have.
So what are you filming?
Oh, we're just doing this documentary.
What's it about?
Ancient history.
When it matters most, America turns to David Muir and ABC's World News Tonight.
All right, let the dogs out, please.
I don't think he's going to give you a hard time.
Even if he gives me a hard time, I'm the right guy. I want to make sure that we all learn together.
Calm, confident.
Calm, confident, calm, surrender.
Everything that he's taught has become a reality.
We are so grateful and impressed.
I feel like crying. You changed our world.
It is a beautiful thing to see. As you rehabilitate the dog, you also rehabilitate you.
Welcome back. For the first time in the 200-year history of Mexico's republic, a woman will become president. Claudia Sheinbaum defeated two other candidates to capture the presidency, but with that role, she now inherits a nation littered with economic, drug, and violence issues that are spilling into neighboring countries, namely the United States. But can one person change all of that? In tonight's Prime Focus, Matt Rivers reports on the hopes that have swept Claudia Sheinbaum into office and the very real challenges that now await her.
In the 200-year history of the Mexican Republic, the cheers have always been for the presidente. But this time, Mexicans are cheering for their presidenta. Claudia Sheinbaum, elected to the presidency, will be the first woman to ever hold the job.
Este 2 de junio, nuevamente hicimos historia.
The environmental engineer turned politician will also be Mexico's first Jewish president.
No vamos a ocultar nada.
A student activist rising through the ranks for decades, she eventually became Mexico City's mayor. Her pragmatic approach to governance has earned her many a fan. But for a Catholic country with a deeply patriarchal past, this election is extraordinary.
No llegó sola, llegamos todas, con nuestras heroínas que nos dieron patria, con nuestras ancestras, nuestras madres, nuestras hijas y nuestras nietas.
In this historic election, Sheinbaum defeated another woman, Xochitl Gálvez Ruiz, herself an unlikely candidate. From a poor family with indigenous roots, the tech entrepreneur became a senator and then the nominee for a center-right coalition.
Hace unos minutos me comuniqué con la doctora Claudia Sheinbaum para reconocer el resultado de la elección. Le dije que vivo en México con mucho dolor y violencia y deseé que ella pueda resolver los graves problemas de nuestra gente.
Sheinbaum, though, with a landslide 30-point victory, vowing to continue the policies of her mentor and predecessor, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, better known as AMLO.
Me comprometo con ustedes a guardar el legado del presidente Andrés Manuel López Obrador.
AMLO is a popular but deeply polarizing president. He is an avowed populist, often demonizing anyone who disagrees with him. AMLO rejects any criticism as political, leaving little room for honest debate on the facts. Consider his response to the fact that violence has become more prevalent during his presidency.
Te diría primero, no hay más violencia. Hay más homicidios.
Critics fear Sheinbaum will continue with the with us or against us mentality, which hurts the ability to solve Mexico's very real problems, none more pressing than public security, as we saw firsthand during this election cycle. This video shows a Guerrero mayoral candidate, Alfredo Cabrera, shaking hands last week until a pistol is leveled and 2 shots fired. Cabrera becoming one of more than 36 candidates killed this election cycle. And on election day, a woman murdered during a shootout between police and individuals who had stolen ballots from a polling station, just one of several violent events reported. It's been a trend during AMLO's presidency. More homicides have been recorded during his administration than any other. His famed policy championed by Sheinbaum, called abrazos no balazos, hugs, not bullets, when dealing with organized crime members. A top issue constantly debated during the campaign.
¿Y cuál ha sido la estrategia de este gobierno? Entregarle el país al crimen organizado. Yo propongo una nueva estrategia de seguridad. Se acabaron los abrazos a los delincuentes.
But voters overwhelmingly chose Sheinbaum, as the U.S. waits to see what kind of leader she'll be. On the one hand, she is an internationally minded progressive, part of a Nobel Prize-winning team for a report on climate change.
Buenos días.
On the other, the protege of AMLO, whose prickly relationship with the U.S. has defined his time in office.
Mantendremos la obligada división entre el poder económico y el poder político. No nos someteremos a ningún poder económico o extranjero por más poderoso que sea.
Her relationship with the U.S. will be the key policy driver of everything from trade to migration to drug trafficking. But for now, Sheinbaum gets to bask in her win. History was made in Mexico last night, but how La Presidenta governs will help decide its future.
¡Viva el presidente López Obrador! ¡Viva México! ¡Viva México! ¡Viva México!
And the world will be watching as she takes office. Our thanks to Matt Rivers for that report. And we still have much more to get to here. Coming up, the issue that caused several stocks to plummet, one nearly falling by 100%. But next, an alarming rise in deaths of people in the custody of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. We take a look at the agency by the numbers.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions. Operational nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it. Not a tear in it. How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work. Hi. Where are you? Where are you? Appreciate you. Thank you. David, good to meet you. Ismail? David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Are you ready to celebrate? Sunday, June 30th, across the country. See, experience some of the nation's greatest Pride celebrations all in one place as they happen live right here on ABC News Live. Pride across America. Celebrate joy, love, freedom, and pride. Sunday, June 30th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Streaming on ABC News Live and stream on Hulu.
I experienced a lot of rejection, a lot of heartache. I'm a tough woman, but it's not easy. You're gonna feel lonely. There was a lot of personal stuff in my life that was really falling apart. But Mom and Daddy didn't raise no quitter.
Not everybody makes it.
It's taken me a really long time to even get to this moment.
The CMA Award for Album of the Year for Female Vocalist of the Year.
Entertainer of the Year
Goes to Lainey
Wilson.
That was a mic drop.
The Entertainer of the Year, baby.
What she is doing right now is changing country music.
I'm proud of myself. I really am. I have worked my ass off. Now it's time to see what's next. I do see the bell bottoms and the hat as my superhero outfit.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead. Tag on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer.
It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
I'm Matt Rivers, traveling with the U.S. Secretary of State in Beijing, China. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
With so many countries in the Southern Hemisphere racked by political and economic strife, it's little surprise that this year, U.S. Customs and Border Protection is encountering record numbers of migrants at the southern border. And those numbers are no doubt the reason behind President Biden's expected executive order putting restrictions on asylum seekers. And immigration remains a key issue for voters heading to the polls now in just 5 months. So this is this evening's By the Numbers. Nearly 2.5 million people, that is the record number of migrants officials encountered at our southern border last year. And this year, the situation is even more dire. Officials so far are seeing a 5% increase in migrants at the border compared to last year. Now, the one bright spot is the number of accompanied minors this year has so far dropped 45%, according to officials. Since the pandemic, though, the number of migrants at the southern border has quintupled. It's increased fivefold, which has created that massive backlog in processing asylum applications. And in December, government figures showed 46% of migrants came from Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, or Honduras. And the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency is also reaching kind of a breaking point. This year, 10 people have so far died in their custody compared to just 12 in the previous 3 years. And there are still 4 months before the government's final tabulations. And we have much more ahead here on Prime. We know that social media can certainly have its downsides, but it can also create community. How a woman's cancer diagnosis led her to find support from people around the world. And there's a reason they call her the GOAT, the greatest of all time. The latest accomplishment for gymnast Simone Biles.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas,
Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky, Minneapolis, Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska. Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
Everybody right now is worried that TikTok's going to be banned in the United States.
We owe a lot to TikTok, and I do not want to see it banned.
That's my main source of income. It would bring me into deep depression.
What evidence have you guys actually seen that this is a threat to national security?
The two greatest powers on Earth are vying over a teenage video app.
I am not imagining a future without TikTok.
The death of TikTok? This is Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu.
Whenever news breaks.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this town.
From Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike.
ABC News Live everywhere.
In Iceland, let's go.
On the 2024 campaign trail.
Here at 10 Downing Street.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere.
All right, let the dogs out, please.
I don't think he's going to give you a hard time.
Even if he gives me a hard time, I'm the right guy.
You can handle it.
I want to make sure that we all learn together.
Calm confidence.
Calm, confident, calm, surrender.
Everything that he's taught has become a reality.
Yeah.
We are so grateful and impressed.
I feel like crying.
You changed our world.
It is a beautiful thing to see. As you rehabilitate the dog, you also rehabilitate you.
GMA's surprise people across the country, helping find thousands in unclaimed money.
This really is a big check.
Yeah! And this summer, we're at it again.
That's incredible.
Because nothing's better than hearing you say,
Show me the money!
On Good Morning America.
Hi, I'm Andy. And I'm Sabrina. And we're moms, juggling tons of stuff every day, like all you moms out there. And you know what we love? Really love? Pop culture. So listen now to our new podcast, Pop Culture Moms, wherever you get your podcasts.
A record fine for a dog breeding facility. An embattled politician charts a new path. And Simone Biles proves once again why she is one of the greatest. These stories and more in tonight's Rundown.
A
A group of Senate Democrats is announcing a legislative package to protect in vitro fertilization. The Right to IVF Act includes 4 bills to preserve access to IVF and make it affordable to get the procedure, which has helped millions of families have children. Tammy Duckworth, one of the Democratic senators who introduced the bill, used IVF to have her 2 daughters. A Virginia dog breeding and research facility will pay a historic fine to the tune of $35 million after pleading guilty to animal welfare and pollution crime.
In one of the most heart-wrenching examples that our investigation uncovered, it showed that Envigo employees failed to follow proper euthanasia procedures, resulting in the unnecessary pain and suffering of several dogs.
The U.S. breeder Envigo was charged with mistreatment of thousands of beagles at his facility in Cumberland County. The guilty plea comes after a 2-year investigation by the U.S. Justice Department. Democratic Senator Bob Menendez has formally filed to run as an independent U.S. Senate candidate, according to the New Jersey Department of State. The deadline to file signatures is 4 p.m. on Tuesday, June 4th, which is also the date of New Jersey's partisan primaries. Independent candidates need 800 signatures to get on the U.S. Senate general election ballot in New Jersey. Menendez decided not to run in New Jersey's Democratic Senate primary while under indictment, but had announced in March he was considering an independent Senate bid. The embattled senator at the center of a corruption trial where he's accused of accepting bribes from New Jersey businessmen in exchange for official favors to benefit governments of Egypt and Qatar. A technical issue caused a temporary halt in trading for dozens of stocks listed on the New York Stock Exchange Monday, including Berkshire Hathaway, the company run by famed investor Warren Buffett, whose price briefly fell nearly 100%. The outage was caused by a technical issue related to some pricing data. The issue was resolved shortly before noon. Fresh Start Produce Sales announced with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration that it's recalling whole cucumbers due to the potential for them to be contaminated with salmonella. The recalled cucumbers were shipped in bulk cartons from May 17th to 21st directly to retail distribution centers, wholesalers, and food service distributors in 14 states.
Potential to
Simone Biles dominated at the U.S. Gymnastics Championships, winning her 9th all-around title Sunday ahead of the Paris Olympic Games this summer. The 27-year-old finished with a combined score of 119.750 after competing in the uneven bars, floor exercise, balance beam, and vault.
Well, in a world where social media often amplifies the trivial, Natasha Allen's story stands as a beacon of resilience and community support. From a typical 20-year-old to a young woman facing stage 4 sarcoma, Natasha's journey unfolds with both vulnerability and strength. She's the daughter of one of our ABC News producers, and Natasha found her voice using TikTok, meeting others using the hashtag #CancerTalk, where her voice could be heard and her battles could be shared along with others. And ABC's Dr. Darian Sutton has the story.
Find meaning in your own life. Find what makes you happy. Find how you can make the world around you better.
For Natasha Allen, a longtime basketball player, a little wear and tear on the knees would seem normal. But in 2020, she started to think her pain was something more.
It's quite large, and my other knee looks normal. I would say in the fall of 2019, I started having knee issues. I started limping. And limping is not so cute when you are 22 years old.
In February of 2020, Natasha would undergo knee surgery for hypertrophic synovitis. But her initial surgery left her with more questions than answers. A post-surgery biopsy later that summer revealed a life-changing diagnosis.
I went in, I sat on the table, and my doctor came in, and he was just like, "It's a tumor." And he said, "Synovial sarcoma, Google it." And he said that with no emotion, not looking at me.
Natasha rushed home to tell her family the news. Despite a difficult diagnosis and facing some of the darkest moments, she started by caring for others.
When I ended up coming home, my mom and my brother were in the living room, and they were like, "How did it go?" And I just screamed, "I have cancer." I told my mom, because she was just like, "Oh, what do we do?" And I was just like, "We have to, do this together, but you have to promise me one thing." And she's like, "What?" I was like, "You have to go to therapy. You can't take care of me if you don't take care of yourself first, because you're not going to be able to go through this without having someone to talk to, and you can't lean on me anymore because I have to lean on myself to go through this."
That comfort and understanding she says was sorely absent in her doctor's office that day, she would soon find was just a few posts away.
In September of 2020, I was alone, I was bored, and I was just like, what do I do? So I went on TikTok.
Hi, I'm Natasha. I'm 27 years old, and I have stage 4 synovial sarcoma.
She discovered the hashtag Cancer Talk, a place to be heard and a home for humor, healing, and hope.
Morning. It's 9:50 a.m. and I have chemo today.
I actually ended up getting my first cancer friend early on in my cancer journey. And then it was nice to feel like not alone, because you'll have your family and your friends, but sometimes you bring up mortality and they're like, no, don't talk about that. And I'm like, well, how can I not talk about it when it's on my mind all the time?
According to the National Institute of Health, nearly 85,000 teens and young adults will be diagnosed with cancer this year, representing over 4% of all diagnoses. Rates of new cancers in this age group increasing nearly a whole percentage point each year on average between 2014 and 2018. Dr. Salman Punikar treats patients with aggressive and advanced cancer and is still searching for the cause.
Particularly in younger patients, what we are seeing are a lot of stage 3, stage 4, so advanced cancers. And that's a little bit more sobering.
And while the battles might be tough, caring communities like Cancer Talk offer an online sanctuary for users like Lydia Obai to seek safety and support.
Watching other people fight through chemotherapy and their cancer treatment has really inspired me when I was in chemo, because it helped me kind of keep going and keep pushing on when times were really tough. And I'm really grateful that people posted their experiences, and that's when I started posting about mine.
And a place for Michael Kramer to find answers and friendship while beating cancer.
The community on TikTok is great, especially in the cancer world. There are so many people out there that are just so willing to talk and chat. You might have someone comment on that post or reach out to you that ends up being one of your best friends in the future.
So I'm here on TikTok to spread awareness, to hopefully make at least one person feel less alone.
You talked about, we went from feeling very cold and dark, feeling very alone, and now when we talk about social media and TikTok, it feels like there's a sense of community. This term, hashtag Cancer Talk, tell me about that. Did you find that? Did that somehow come into your life randomly?
So it was very interesting. As you know, I was diagnosed in 2020, and I feel like Cancer Talk wasn't really a thing then. So I would just post videos and whatnot. But there were cancer videos, but they were few and far in between. But I feel like it has grown so much since then. And I'd like to think that I've contributed to it.
Someone said, I love your strong personality. I was diagnosed with the same condition 12 years ago. How does that make you feel?
Seeing that someone had the same cancer 12 years ago, and they're still out here kicking, it gives me hope.
You've got more than 168,000 followers, more than 22 million likes. When you see those numbers when you log on, what does that make you feel like?
I guess seeing the numbers, it makes me happy, but not for, the pursuit of fame, but more so that more people are seeing the awareness I'm bringing to the disease, just bringing awareness to cancer in general.
Creators like Natasha are a prime example of the positive power this online community can cultivate, and a reminder of the hope needed to heal.
The messages that really hit a chord with me are the ones where people say, you are an inspiration. Even other cancer patients are like, you helped me through chemo. And I think that those comments when someone's like, you helped me through chemo, make me cry, but happy tears. I'm actually having the happy tears happening now, because just being able to be that someone for someone else makes it all worth it.
All right, thanks to Dr. Sutton for that story and for Natasha for sharing her story. Now to the end of a game show era, Pat Sajak has spent 41 seasons spinning the Wheel of Fortune, but this Friday he is retiring. And ABC's Janae Norman has an exclusive first look of Sajak talking about his final spin.
Here's your new host, Pat Sajak.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack Clark. Morning, everyone. Welcome to Wheel of Fortune.
After 41 seasons and more than 8,000 episodes behind the wheel,
Sajak and Vanna White.
Leave that to us.
Pat Sajak preparing for his final spin.
Oh, hang on. That sound means time's running out. I'll do the Wheel of Final Spin.
On Wheel of Fortune this Friday, the show he helped make must-watch family TV.
We have $1 million winner.
GMA getting an exclusive first look as he sat down to talk retirement with his daughter Maggie, the show's social correspondent.
Thanks for giving me this exclusive farewell interview.
My daughter is going to interview me, so don't be too hard on me.
I'll try my best.
Okay.
Well, here we are. It's the last week of shows for you on Wheel. How do you feel?
It's surprisingly okay. You know, this was announced a long time ago, almost a year ago, so I've had time to sort of get used to it, and it's been a little bit wistful and all that, but I'm enjoying it and taking it all in and reflecting on a great run. I do know that somewhere along the line, we became more than a popular show. We became part of the popular culture, and more importantly, we became part of people's lives, and that's been awfully gratifying.
So I'm behind the puzzle board, and look who I found.
Maggie posting behind-the-scenes videos like these, showing the man behind the magic.
A lot of people were asking what behind the puzzle board is like, so I
we
wanted to
can't
give
show
them a
a
glimpse.
lot.
Pat now reflecting on why he's ready to leave the hit show behind.
What made you decide that this is the right time for you to leave the show?
I've always said to you, you've heard me say this dozens of times, I'd rather leave a couple of years too early than a couple of years too late. Could I still do it? Yeah, I think I could for a while. There's also some other things in life that we'd like to do, and I'm enjoying this last year. It's been a great 40 years, and I'm looking forward to whatever's ahead.
And while he says he's open to new projects, he's looking forward to the simple life.
I'm perfectly happy if it just means that I'll continue with my crossword puzzles and play with grandchildren. Hint, hint, hint. No pressure.
This show means the world to us. It's been such a gift. And you have made what could have just been Hangman into a cultural phenomenon. So thank you.
Thank you,
For
sweetheart.
these amazing 40-plus years.
Excuse me, we have to hug. Thank you.
All right, who's driving home?
That's great. Our thanks to Janae Norman for that. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Trevor Ault. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. And thank you for streaming with us. And coming up in the next hour, the proceedings in court today for Hunter Biden, now on trial after his plea deal fell through. And the fallout over the war in Gaza, the country that is banning Israelis from visiting.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who is in the Brat Pack. You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because it was time that we clear the air on a couple of things.
Whoa. I hated the Brat Pack for decades. What a disaster.
Why did we take it as an offense?
We're afraid we were brats, you know.
Andrew?
I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985, I think we could have.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good. Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions. Operational nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it. Not a tear in it. How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work.
Hi.
Where are you? Where are you?
Appreciate you.
Thank you, David. Good to meet you.
Ismail? David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
They call him the beauty queen killer. He's targeting young women in malls.
I am single. I want to join the company of a number of women.
He tortured me.
How did she survive 9 days of terror?
The word accomplice came up. Nobody knows the real story.
The Beauty Queen Killer, only on Hulu.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News live.
Good evening, everyone. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Trevor Alton for Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, including the jury now seated in the trial of Hunter Biden. The president's son back in court as he faces 3 felony gun charges. The First Lady seated in the front row watching it all. What this could mean for President Biden. We have the latest outside the courtroom. Plus, Israeli forces confirming the deaths of 4 more hostages, why the IDF says they were killed together and when they believe they were killed. Plus, the nation not too far away that's now banning Israelis from entering their country as public anger over the war in Gaza there continues to spike. But we begin with that unprecedented trial here at home of Hunter Biden on felony gun charges. He is the first child of a sitting president to ever go on trial. 12 jurors and 4 alternates were seated today, and opening arguments are set to begin tomorrow. Now, Hunter Biden arrived today at the federal court in Wilmington, Delaware. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden there to support Hunter on her 73rd birthday. President Biden saying he sent his boundless love. Hunter Biden's accused of lying about his drug abuse on a federal form when he bought a handgun back in 2018. Now, for years, he has been open about his drug addiction and his fight to beat it. Now, prosecutors are planning to use his own words against him. They say this is a simple case. And Terry Moran leads us off from the courthouse.
Hunter Biden walked hand in hand with his wife, Melissa, into the federal courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware this morning to stand trial on charges of violating federal gun laws. Minutes later, First Lady Jill Biden made her way into court on her 73rd birthday. This case marks the first time in American history that the child of a sitting president has gone on trial. Hunter Biden faces 3 felony gun charges in what prosecutors are calling a simple case. They allege that he lied about his drug abuse on this federal form back in October 2018 when he bought a Colt Cobra .38 special handgun. For years, the president's son has been open about his fight with drug addiction.
That I've made mistakes in my life and wasted opportunities and privileges I was afforded. For that, I'm responsible.
Now prosecutors plan to use his words against him in court, including excerpts from his 2021 memoir, Beautiful Things, where he came clean about his addiction and his text messages. This one allegedly sent just 2 days after buying that firearm. I was sleeping on a car, smoking crack on 4th Street and Rodney. Hunter Biden's lawyers have argued in court documents that that form is confusing, and so their client did not knowingly lie. Last year, a plea deal in this case fell apart under tough questioning by the same judge who will now preside at trial. The jury selected today 6 men, 6 women, including a man whose father died by gun violence and whose brother was sentenced to prison for drug crimes. A woman who grew up in a hunting family with guns and whose best friend died from a drug overdose. And a man who has owned 6 guns in his life and told the judge, "I believe the Second Amendment is very important." Earlier today, President Biden released a statement standing by his only surviving son, saying in part, "I have boundless love for my son."
And Terry Moran joins us now from outside the courthouse. So, Terry, as the first child of a sitting president to face trial with the First Lady there in court, how did Hunter Biden behave today?
Well, Trevor, it was intense in that courtroom because Hunter Biden is facing very serious criminal charges that could carry a prison sentence if he is convicted, although that's unlikely with the first offender. And he has been in that courtroom an active participant. He's conferring frequently with his lawyers during the jury selection. He's also been a very attentive son. He's been checking in on the First Lady, and at one point during a break, he embraced her with visible emotion crossing his face. Opening statements tomorrow in this case. Trevor?
All right, Terry Moran, thank you. Meanwhile, in Washington tonight, sources say President Biden is preparing to take tough executive action on immigration, including shutting down the border when the number of daily asylum seekers reaches 2,500. Now, that comes tonight as the new president of Mexico. Their first woman president, a physicist and an engineer, has already signaled she will work with the U.S. on immigration. And our Rachel Scott has the story from the White House.
Tonight, President Biden preparing to take his most aggressive action on immigration yet, with plans to issue an executive order to effectively shut down the border to asylum seekers when migrant crossings surge. Sources tell ABC News when daily encounters reach 2,500 between ports of entry, asylum seekers would be turned away. The move could have an immediate impact. Migrant crossings have averaged 3,500 a day in recent weeks. The president, keenly aware that immigration is a top issue for voters, has been weighing on how he can act alone after Donald Trump urged Republicans to block a bipartisan deal their own party negotiated.
There's no guarantee that I have that power all by myself without legislation. And someone suggested I should just go ahead and try it.
The U.S. has seen a record 6.4 million illegal border crossings during the Biden administration. Officials say the numbers have dipped in recent months because Mexico is cracking down on their side of the border. And the U.S. will soon have a new partner. Mexico tonight electing its first woman and first Jewish president, Claudia Sheinbaum, the former mayor of Mexico City, a physicist with a doctorate in energy engineering, won the Nobel Peace Prize. Sheinbaum is vowing to continue the policies of outgoing President López Obrador, working to control the flow of migrants.
That's Rachel Scott reporting. Thank you, Rachel. Next to the Israel-Hamas war, the Israeli military now confirming 4 more hostages have died while being held by Hamas. 3 of them had been seen pleading for their lives in a video that Hamas released back in December. And Marcus Moore reports from Tel Aviv tonight.
Tonight, the Israeli military acknowledging, quote, difficult questions will be asked after the deaths of 4 more hostages being held by Hamas in Gaza. According to the IDF, new intelligence confirms Chaim Perry, Yoram Metzger, Imran Cooper, and Nadav Popowell were killed several months ago.
We assessed that the 4 of them were killed while together in the area of Khan Yunis during our operation there against Hamas.
The IDF has not said how they died. Back in December, Perry appeared in this Hamas video, pleading, "Don't abandon us." A lifelong peace activist, Perry surrendered to Hamas militants to save his wife, who was hiding in their safe room. We spoke with their son, Lior, shortly after Perry's abduction.
Ever since he finished being a soldier, he became a strong peace activist because he said, it's very clear for me, very, very clear, that peace is the only way.
Perry's family tonight blasting the Israeli government for not doing more to free the hostages, saying in a statement he could have been saved. He should have been saved, adding there will be no forgiveness for any further abandonment. This comes just days after President Biden's announcement of a new ceasefire proposal. But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today insisting there will be no permanent truce until Hamas is destroyed.
Marcus Moore tonight. Marcus, thank you. And here at home in New York, 2 police officers were shot and wounded chasing a robbery suspect on a moped in Queens. One officer was shot in the leg, the other shot in the chest. Our senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has more.
Tonight, these 2 young New York City police officers are out of the hospital and lucky to be alive after they were shot by a migrant wanted for robbery in Queens.
This is a bullet hole. Because of this vest, a young police officer is going home.
Officers Richard Yaruso and Christopher Abreu, both 26, were shot just before 2 a.m. while searching for suspects in a string of robberies by thieves on scooters.
They observed a male suspect drive a moped the wrong way and attempted to pull him over. The suspect then fled on foot.
Police sources told ABC News the officers wrestled the suspect to the ground. They were all within inches of one another when the suspect pulled a gun out of a fanny pack and fired.
One is confirmed shot in the leg and one in the vest. We have one perp that's shot.
Officer Yaruso trying to stop his partner from bleeding.
The one police officer shot in the vest was more concerned about his partner, saving his life, getting a tourniquet.
Detectives recovered this illegal handgun at the scene and arrested Bernardo Mata, a 19-year-old from Venezuela who entered the U.S. illegally a year ago and had been living in a migrant shelter.
Aaron Katursky for us tonight. Aaron, thank you. Next to the major wildfire that's burning in California, as 25 million Americans are put on alert for dangerous heat. These flames from the Corral Fire, it's east of San Francisco. They raced across more than 20 square miles in just 48 hours. This temporarily shut down 2 major freeways. It forced evacuations. At least 2 firefighters were injured, and now crews will battle the flames and triple-digit temperatures. ABC's Mola Lenghi is on the fire lines tonight in Tracy, California.
Tonight, a new threat for the West, scorching heat. 475 firefighters already battling California's first major wildfire of the year. The dry grass quickly going up near the town of Tracy. The Corral Fire incinerating more than 20 square miles east of San Francisco in the last 48 hours.
The winds were fierce, 30 to 40 mile an hour sustained winds and 60 mile an hour gusts. People were saying they couldn't even stand up in those high winds. 2 firefighters sustaining burns when the erratic winds changed direction, expected to be okay.
First time I walked over here, it was very hard to look at. It still is.
Travis Curtis's parents evacuating as flames closed in on his childhood home, now destroyed by the fire.
They left with the clothes on their back. And so...
and came home to nothing.
Came home to nothing.
The start of the fire not far from the explosives testing facility belonging to the famed Lawrence Livermore National Lab. Authorities warning that fire season is now a year-round event.
Usually we see the more intense fire activity in July, August, September. So we just want everybody to be prepared.
And that's Mola Lenghi reporting. Mola, thank you. Meanwhile, back in Washington today, former NIH Director Dr. Anthony Fauci testified in front of lawmakers about the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. He became emotional while responding to a question regarding threats to him and his family.
Everything from harassments by emails, texts, letters of myself, my wife, my 3 daughters. There have been credible death threats leading to the arrests of 2 individuals, and credible death threats mean someone who clearly was on their way to kill me. And it's required my having protective services essentially all the time. It is very troublesome to me. It is much more troublesome because they've involved my wife and my 3 daughters.
Now, that questioning was part of a probe from the Republican-led subcommittee that spent more than a year looking into the nation's response to the pandemic. Next tonight to the 9-time U.S. all-around champ Simone Biles. The elite gymnast is officially bound for the Paris Olympics after competing at the U.S. Gymnastics Championship. And ABC's Morgan Norwood has all the highlights.
Simone Biles is flying high.
Man, she looks good.
Winning her record 9th U.S. Gymnastics Championship ahead of the Summer Games in Paris. The 7-time Olympic medalist dominating the floor exercise.
Look how high she gets.
It's ridiculous.
Uneven bars.
Smooth release moves.
And balance beam.
3 flips right in a row. Handspring layout. Boom.
The veteran stumbling on the vault while attempting a trick named after her, known as the Biles 2.
Go double pike.
Oh! Shaking it off, Biles saying, "I'm not mad," referring to her performance.
I'm not mad? Is that what she just mouthed?
Still, she sailed to victory, taking the top spot on the podium. Her closest competitor, Sky Blakely, almost 6 points back. Her family beaming with pride as the veteran battles back after withdrawing from some events during the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, citing struggles with her emotional health.
Our thanks to Morgan Norwood. Next tonight, a volcano in Hawaii's national park has erupted. Kilauea is one of the world's most active volcanoes. It last erupted in 1974. It only lasted for about 6 hours. The surrounding area has been closed since 2008 because of other hazards. The observatory logged almost 250 eruption hours before the eruption began. No injuries have been reported. And we still have much more to get to, including author Michael Crichton. He died 15 years ago, but he has a new book on the shelves, and it's about a volcanic eruption. We're going to talk about the author who finished the manuscript for this scientific thriller, and you know the name. But next, the Dalai Lama is coming to the U.S., but it may not include any official meetings. Why he is making this long journey.
I experienced a lot of heartache. I'm a tough woman, but it's not easy. You're gonna feel lonely. It's taken me a really long time to even get to this moment.
And the CMA Award for
Entertainer of the Year
goes to
Lainey Wilson.
That was a mic drop.
The Entertainer of the Year, baby.
I do see the bell bottoms and the hat as my superhero outfit.
Wild horses. Are you ready to celebrate? Sunday, June 30th, across the country. See, experience some of the nation's greatest pride celebrations all in one place as they happen live right here on ABC News Live. Pride across America. Celebrate joy, love, freedom, and pride. Sunday, June 30th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Streaming on ABC News Live and stream on Hulu.
All right, let the dogs out, please.
I don't think he's gonna give you a hard time.
Even if he gives me a hard time, I'm the right guy. I want to make sure that we all learn together.
Calm confidence.
Calm, confident, calm, surrender.
Everything that he's taught has become a reality.
We are so grateful and impressed.
I feel like crying. You changed our world.
It is a beautiful thing to see. As you rehabilitate the dog, you also rehabilitate you.
With so much at stake in our world right now, more Americans turn here to David than anywhere else. And now, America's most trusted, most watched newscast, ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir, is available to you on YouTube. This week, where's the best place to start your day? Good Morning America with Selena, Steve, and Martin. Plus, Travis Kelce. And you know he has a lot to talk about. This week on
Good Morning America.
Traveling with the president in London, I'm Elizabeth Folsey. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
We're tracking several headlines around the world. The party that freed South Africa from apartheid has lost its 30-year majority in the government. The African National Congress, or ANC, won 40% of the vote in the election that took place over the weekend. And this is the first time the ANC has not won at least 50% since post-apartheid elections began back in 1994. The party, founded by Nelson Mandela, now has 2 weeks to form a coalition government or risk losing power. The Maldives has banned Israelis from entering the country as public anger there over the war in Gaza. It's a predominantly nomination. The anger has spiked there. Israeli officials have advised Israelis to avoid any travel to the Maldives. The ocean chain of islands is home to many luxury resorts. Roughly 11,000 Israelis visited there last year. And the Dalai Lama is set to travel this month to the United States for treatment on his knee. The 88-year-old spiritual leader of Tibet has not traveled to the U.S. in several years. In prior visits, he's met with U.S. officials, including U.S. presidents. One of America's most beloved and best-selling writers is Michael Crichton. He wrote or created countless modern science fiction classics like Jurassic Park, ER, Twister, Westworld, many more. But after his passing 15 years ago, he left behind several unfinished manuscripts, and his wife Sherry Crichton knew they deserved to be finished. Well, today, Mr. Crichton's posthumous scientific thriller, Eruption, is now on sale. And while he still gets the top billing, you might notice right below him is a name that you certainly know, James Patterson, in his own right, one of the most prolific storytellers of our time. Well, he stepped in and he completed this book. Sherry Crichton and James Patterson joining us now. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I believe...
Exciting day.
Yeah, it is an exciting day. A lot of attention on this book. I mean, two of maybe the biggest names that you could have on a book. And I think, Sherry, Michael started working on this 30 years ago?
He did.
94?
94, but he started researching it in 1974.
Yeah.
So yes, it keeps building and building, and to the point.
What happened on your honeymoon?
Well, yes, on my honeymoon, I got married in Kauai.
Yes.
We got married in Kauai, but on my honeymoon, Michael took me to Pompeii. Pompeii.
How romantic.
Ash and
Yes, talk about ash and tectonic plates and lava.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and the book is set in Hawaii. Yes. Obviously, eruption, not to give it away, but a volcanic eruption happens in it.
Sure.
What was the state of the novel when you first read it?
It was a partial manuscript that just abruptly ended. It was like the ultimate cliffhanger, and I knew he was working on a volcano story. I always knew there was a volcano story percolating, but I didn't know because Michael didn't really get into the weeds like that. He would teach me about volcanoes wherever we were in Hawaii or around the world, as Jim said. But it was still in its partial stage.
And I was a massive Michael Crichton fan. I'd read everything, all of his novels and screenplays, a couple of screenplays, and Sherry gave me the partial manuscript, and I read that, and I said, this is a great story, because it had this double storyline. There was a volcano, which threatened to be the worst volcano in the history of the country, and then there was toxic waste buried on Hawaii.
Oh, well, that's like the calling card of a Michael Crichton novel, right? Is that it's science fiction, but it feels extraordinarily plausible. What's the process of keeping with your own voice, which is well known, but also staying true to Michael Crichton?
Well, I really wanted to, and the voice was in the pages that he had done. And one of the things I'll say to people watching, and this thing it's taking off like crazy. It's already #1 on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Apple and blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people are going to read it. But the challenge that I have for people is for them to figure out where Michael stopped writing and I began. And we really wanted that to be. We wanted people to read this and feel that it really worked as a whole, that it was seamless. And I did an outline for...
He did a beautiful outline, just not a typical outline. He did a voluminous outline, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I see the story, and now I see where it is going and how he carried on with these amazing characters, and then he introduced all these new amazing characters, and it was all of a sudden it's back on those 2 ticking clocks, which is what the book is, which is different than just that one that you wouldn't normally be intriguing, but you've got 2 and how they collide.
Yeah, Michael obviously has a pristine reputation and legacy and a rabid fan base. Right. How do you feel about that legacy now and how this book fits into it?
I think the book fits in perfectly. I think that the way that Michael laid the track and brought in the science with all of the research, it has that classic Crichton hook and that tempo and that science fiction based in science, or science fiction based in science fact. It has all the elements of a Crichton book, but it has all of the elements of a great Patterson book, and how he wove the 2 of them together. It was really just magical to see the 2 authors dance on the page like that seamlessly.
Yes. And these are 2 authors that have had a lot of their stories turned into films and television.
This is true.
Are we looking at that for Eruption also, maybe?
Well, you know what? We were talking about this. Like, first we want everybody to have that wonderful ride in their own imagination.
Yes.
But yes, we are very, very encouraged by our relationship.
And one of the keys is, you know, when Michael worked with Steven Spielberg on Jurassic, they wanted to raise the stakes, and they did it.
Yes.
And that's what we want to do with this. And the people we're talking to, we don't want it to be one of those movies where you go, yeah, that was all right.
Right.
No, it has to be.
Kind of what we expected. And no, we don't. We want you to. Yeah, I wasn't. That's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It's really, really good. And that's the kind of people we're talking to.
Yes, and with Jurassic Park, you can still go back and read the novel, and it's excellent.
Yeah,
so we still,
absolutely.
So we got to encourage people. The book is Eruption by Michael Crichton and James Patterson. It is on sale today. And still to come, Jimmy Kimmel recently revealed his son underwent another heart surgery. We're going to hear from the doctor behind those surgeries. He explains how these cases are treated and what it means for the child's future.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards, and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead. Hang on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer. It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
If you were coming
of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you? I hated the Brat Pack. What a disaster.
Why did we take it as an offense? Andrew?
I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium.
1985? I think we could have.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Getting you behind the stories as they happen. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights wherever you stream your news. Only on ABC News Live.
Jimmy Kimmel's son Billy recently underwent his third open heart surgery. And in a touching final report tonight, our Matt Gutman sat down exclusively with the surgeon who has led Billy's care since he was a newborn.
The lead surgeon behind Jimmy Kimmel's son's heart surgeries sharing new details about 7-year-old Billy's heart condition and his recovery. Dr. Vaughn Starnes at Children's Hospital Los Angeles has performed all 3 surgeries on Billy's heart, including the first one when he was just 3 days old.
When Billy Kimmel was born, did his parents know that he was going to have this defect?
No. It caught them by surprise. They thought Billy was going to be perfectly normal, and was until 2 or 3 hours after delivery. That's when the nurse noted that the child was somewhat blue and sounded alarms.
The defect Billy has is called tetralogy of Fallot, which prevents the heart from pumping properly.
Billy had a very severe form. He had no connection between the right ventricle.
So this surgery was life and death. This is not about making his life easier. This is about ensuring that this infant survives.
Correct.
Our son Billy had an open heart surgery. He's doing very well. Thank you for your good wishes.
His latest surgery over Memorial Day weekend required implanting a valve that could help him live normally. But it wasn't without risk.
What was the mood like going into this surgery for the family?
Well, I would say that Molly's a rock, Jimmy's a mess. All kidding aside, Jimmy was very emotional, and Molly was obviously emotional, but more in control of her emotions.
Dr. Starnes says it was instantly successful. Jimmy sharing this video from when they returned home last week, Billy running away from a hawk that had gotten into their house.
Were you surprised that he was able to be so active right after getting home from the hospital?
I knew after putting a valve in there, he would improve. I didn't expect it to improve that fast.
Dr. Starnes saw the Kimmels again last week.
What does it feel like when you see a kid who was really struggling before the operation, and then post-op, he's like a different child?
It's the greatest joy that I have. After 30 years, it never gets old.
Our thanks to Matt Gutman, and that is our show for tonight. I'm Trevor Ault. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. And you can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and of course on abcnews.com. Have a great night.
Everybody right now is worried that TikTok's going to be banned in the United States.